Liam, it's our third year. End of our third year. You know, we need something new going into our fourth year. Something exciting, something fresh.
We need to breathe a new life into the show is what we really need to do. A rebrand, perhaps.
Yeah,
we can completely rebrand.
Looking forwards, not backwards. A big shake-up, you know?
I've got an idea, Nagy.
Oh, yeah?
Get a load of this!
Oh, I like this. This is nice. This is, it's good energy.
It's got good synergy.
Synergy's better than energy.
Better than energy.
Yeah, it's softer, but also sharper.
Do you think it's an improvement?
Oh, yes. I can't even remember what the old one looked like. Yeah.
Well, I think it looked a little bit like this.
Oh, I don't like this at all.
No.
It's too cluttery.
It feels stale.
What's going on here?
Stale and old-fashioned.
I don't need to know where we are.
Oh, so let's go back to this.
Oh, that's much better. I feel a lot. Well, I feel safer here. I think it's going to appeal to the youngest.
It's going to appeal to the Gen X.
Yes, and the Gen
Xers.
Y. Which ones does it go down? Does it go up?
Goes
Gen Z?
Gen Z is the youngest, so it goes down.
How much does this all cost?
Oh, you don't want to know.
And welcome to the Joust. My name is Nagy. I'm here as always, and for the last time this season, with my co-host Liam McNeil. Liam, how's it been the last 3 weeks? We've had a bit of a gap, a bit of a what's it called when you don't come back for a sabbatical?
A sabbatical, yes.
Yeah.
We're good religious boys going on a good religious sabbatical.
Yeah.
We spend all of our time in church and all of our time, the
Thought-
church of footy, of course.
Yeah.
The church of footy, watching lots of footy on the television. But that's pretty much been it. That's been the entirety of my last 3 weeks.
I haven't seen you much. Have you been well?
Oh, I couldn't complain, I suppose. Couldn't complain. No one would listen if I did.
You're looking sprightly, but that's maybe because it's a little bit earlier than we usually record here at the Commonwealth Hotel. It's I don't know. It's barely touching 3 on a Sunday afternoon.
And I'm awake. Mum and Dad will be so proud.
But a lot's happened, Liam, in the time that we haven't been recording in the last few weeks. A lot, with a few notable things happening in the NRL, the final series. Now, the Knights famously missed out on the top 8 this season, and there's parts of us are a little bit happy that we missed out because of what happened to basically 8th place in the Broncos.
Oh my word! They got shellacked, didn't they?
Now, we can't throw too many stones from too many places. Being Knight supporters, we've certainly been shellacked, both recently and historically. I think even Broncos supporters will highlight 2006, I think it was, when we made the prelims against them and they put 50 points on us. So it can happen, but it happened to them, which was nice to see, with Parramatta 58 points to zip. It was
Highest scoring margin in a finals, I believe, in a finals match.
Yeah. Well, I think it only just pipped them when they flogged us back in 2006. So it's a nice thing that they
Nice bit of karma.
Nice bit of karma that only took 13 years to materialise. But everyone loves to see the Broncos get smashed, and obviously since that time we've seen Parramatta themselves drop out, losing to the Melbourne Storm. Melbourne Storm dropping out. Sharks,
Speaking
Manly
of
gone.
teams everyone likes to get smashed, Manly and Melbourne Storm are both out of the final series for 2019. Wonderful news. Very, very good news. Two of the teams that everyone loves to hate, obviously. Now, I was discussing this with a friend of mine just the other day. Who do you hate more? Do you hate Manly more or the Melbourne Storm more?
Melbourne
it seems,
Storm. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I'm still on the Manly hating bandwagon. I mean, the Trebojevic brothers are doing wonders for that club's likability.
The good boys.
But at the same point, they're still Manly. And to me, they're still the Manly that we beat in 97. I've never, gotten over my joyous hatred for them. And especially growing up a North Sydney Bears fan, as devout listeners of the show would know, for me, Manly was always the what do you say? The boogeyman, the boogeyman in the closet.
Yeah.
Always hated Manly. So for me, I hate Manly more than I hate the Storm, which isn't to say I love the Storm. But yeah, for me, it's Manly. Why do you, now the Storm, Nagy? Why do you hate them so much?
Well, I watched them play last night against the Roosters, and it was a great game of football. But I found myself cheering for the Roosters, even though the Roosters are the premiers, and I shouldn't really be cheering for a side that's just won. Plus, it's the Roosters, and I don't like them either. But it's the better of two evils, I feel, because you got a team with Tedesco, Boyd Cordner. And there's another New South Wales player in there, Latrell Mitchell. As well. So you got a nice sort of collective there against a Will Chambers, Cameron Smith, Cameron Munster sort of side. And that it just gives you that, we're back again feeling that same old feeling. So seeing Cameron Smith upset.
And not only upset, getting 10 minutes in the bin.
Yeah, that was the game before. Yeah, that was the game against Parramatta.
Oh, that was the game before.
Yeah.
Still, that was great to see.
It's been such a jam-full final series. There's been a few games that, I feel like they're a bit unfortunate. I think, Manly probably should have beaten South.
See, I'm not convinced about that. A lot of people have been blaming the Trebojevic sin bin for Manly's for South's win.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case. I think South still would have won regardless of that, because Cameron Murray throws a pass that's a bit better of a pass. South still go over to score. They win the game. I don't think you can pin Manly's loss on the Trebojevic send-off. But that's just me.
That's just you. That's all right. You're allowed to air your opinions.
Yeah.
Only when I give you permission to. There's the NRL loves a fairy tale. And quite a few years we were sort of blessed with a lot of fairy tales, with the Sharks 2016 breaking their premiership drought. We had the 2015 Cowboys against the Broncos, the sort of big brother team, and taking that one out and giving Jonathan Thurston his first premiership. There was
14, the Rabbitohs coming back from their immense drought.
And there was bang, bang, bang. We just had all these fairy tales. Not so many at the moment. 2017 when Storm got over the Cowboys. Cowboys were just playing with a busted side. And you're like, let's go for them. And obviously last year with the Roosters, you had the Cooper Cronk sort of thing. But they're really missing a good fairy tale. And that's what they got this year.
They did indeed. I think the Canberra Raiders, the fairy tale of the Canberra Raiders is one that's going to go down in history, I think. It's been 30 years since their last grand final victory, and I don't think they've appeared in a grand final since then.
No, that's right.
Wait, what happened in 94? No, they won in 94, so it's been...
Did they?
They did, yeah, because
so
that was...
1990, 91, and 94. Is that right? No, 89,
90,
1990,
and 94.
And 94.
Yeah, so it's been 25 years.
Do you reckon that when they won 3 premierships over 6 years, they're like, this will never stop. We're just going to keep on being great.
Forever.
Forever.
Into eternity. I think they would have thought that, although that was right towards the end of Mal Meninga's career. I'm pretty sure Mal got to finish with a premiership.
Yeah,
but
right.
yeah, so it's been 25 years since they've been to what NRL players so crassly call the big dance. What are your thoughts on the saying the big dance?
That got flogged last night. Watching the Roosters, they kept mentioning it again and again, and then the players started mentioning it, and that was in the promos. The big dance. How much dancing goes on at the big dance, Liam?
Very little. Little to none.
It's little to none. Is that what... If you win, you dance. So only half the people are dancing, really. And if anything, dancing, you need 2. You need both.
It takes 2 to tango.
It takes 2 to tango. And a jive. And the Stockton Shuffle. That's a little bit
Thriller.
different.
The dance from Thriller you can do on your own.
But you got to be in a group, I suppose.
You don't have to.
Yeah. What's been happening with the Night Slam? There's a little bit... we've had a few players departing the club.
Yep, we have. So there's been a list of 5. Now departing players are Slade Griffin, Jamie Buhrer, SKD, Sam Stone left mid-season to go to the Titans, and Zach Wolford has been released. Now, there's some very good memories of a couple of those players. Slade Griffin obviously had his career horrifyingly cut short with that terrible knee injury, but we saw what a good player he could be on his day when he was uninjured, and I think the Knights owe a lot to Slade Griffin for being fantastic in the short time that he could. Now, Jamie Buhrer, he leaves the club as one of the great clubmen of the Knights' history, because he was there in the tough times. He was arguably, well, not arguably, he was the first one to sign on in the basket case years of the Knights. He was the captain so many times. What's your favourite memory of Jamie Buhrer?
James Bure.
The Führer's jeans.
I was driving past, this is slightly off topic, I was driving past a business in Belmont, right? It was called Millier's Advisors, right? Sorry, Hillier's Advisors. And when you glance at it, it does look a lot like Hitler's Advisors. Which is great, because part of you thinks in your mind, maybe Hitler wasn't that bad of a guy. He was just ill-advised.
He was ill-advised. Okay.
I'll leave it there. Sorry.
You're flirting with some dangerous territory there, Nagy.
I know.
2 white blokes talking about Hitler. That never ends well.
Well, yeah, that's true. So James Bure, he had a lot of. He didn't have a lot of keystone moments in my mind, but he did give the club a lot of faith coming to when he did decide to come here, and being basically of any sort of notable signing was...
He was an Origin player at the time.
Well, yeah, he did play that one game. Did he make it on the field? He made it on the field for a few short minutes. It wasn't... Yeah. But that's at the same time...
Still, Origin player.
Yeah, that's true, 100%. And he was of that calibre, absolutely, at Manly. And he got thrown around in the Knights playing a host of positions. But also seeing him off the field and speak to him very, well put together guy. And had a lot of time to chat to fans.
I believe you ran into him one night at Cappadocia, and as you mentioned, he was more than happy to chat with you.
Well, that was also, which is surprising. But at the same time, choosing Cappadocia over the other kebab shop.
See, it shows his nous as not only a footballer, but as a human being.
Yeah, and
he's got nous. He knows what's good. He knows what's up.
Yeah, and also, his love for the perfectly salted chicken fries. So
chicken salted chips.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, which they do
See,
wonderfully.
The secret, though, to the Cappadocia kebab, they toast the kebab.
Yes.
So you get a nice crispy exterior and the cheese melts through the middle. Mm-hmm. Best kebab in Newcastle. We'll be approaching them for sponsorship next year.
And also, you can hold it in the bag better.
Yeah,
So when you go in the cab, you're like, it's not dripping. I'm not touching it. I'm saving it.
Unfortunately, my favourite Jamie Buhrer, well, not favourite, but the one that sticks out to me the most was, I believe it was Robert Rochow hit on Jamie Buhrer when he took the ball above his head.
Yeah, in the Tigers game.
Again, in the Tigers game where he famously kicked to SKD for the winner.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that hit is kind of my most memorable Jamie Buhrer moment.
We gave away the Jamie Buhrer Award for the player that just got back up and played the ball.
We did. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Well done, Jamie. Thanks very much.
It's been a good career. But SKD as well. I think SKD was very, very good for the Knights. Obviously, he was in the twilight of his career.
Yeah.
But I think he gave us everything he had. He left it all out on the field. You know, he was rocks and diamonds, but we loved him for it.
Yeah.
If anything, it made us love him more.
You know, he was found at the casino with maybe a little bit of something he shouldn't have had, but we forgave him.
We forgave, as we are wont to do in Newcastle.
He had the hair follicle test, and not that we required it. We just said, look, mate, we believe you.
Better safe than sorry. Yeah.
But it's look, at the same time, he came here when there wasn't a lot of other players of again that sort of experience coming here, and he gave it. He was still playing well up until his last day. Probably could have got another year with the Knights, but signed a multi-year contract with I don't know, someone in England.
Some English.
Some English team.
Yeah.
No one knows what goes on over there.
It doesn't matter.
It's an absolute zoo. Anything else, Salim, with the Knights?
Look, that's all for player retirements. Obviously, we've got to cover our 2020 recruits. Yeah. Biggest one being Adam O'Brien. Now, the bloke's got... We've discussed this before,
coach,
but, I think we need to go over it again quite quickly. He's got plenty of raps on him from his time at Melbourne. 13 years at Melbourne, 1 year at the Roosters. And if you're, as a coach, coming through those systems, you could not be in better systems. So I think he could be, a fantastic asset to the club. But obviously, we'll just have to wait and see.
David Furner coming on as assistant coach. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm intrigued about David Furner because he's been a head coach before, but he wasn't particularly good.
No.
But as an assistant coach, he seems fantastic. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he's been at the Roosters.
I don't know where he's been.
I think he's been at the Roosters.
He was at Super League for a while.
Yeah, he went to Super League, coached over there for a bit, but I think he's been back assistant coaching in Australia.
Yeah.
This season, I believe. But I think it's a good signing. And
do you smell a bit of that's a bit of a Knights insurance policy? Like we got this experienced first grade coach. So if Adam O'Brien's a flash in the pan, they simply step him down and step Furner up and then say oh, well, we've got this other guy who seems to be doing pretty well.
See, I thought that sentence was going to be a lot shorter and finish after you smell a bit.
No.
But, Nagy, while I want to disagree with you because that shows little to no faith in the coach, you may be right. Having an experienced coach to take up the reins if O'Brien fails.
The shit hits the fan.
If it does, and Furner will be cleaning the walls. The shit hits the fan, it sprays on the walls. Yeah, so that's a very interesting point. Also recruited Jaden Brayley. Yeah. He's played 70 games for the Sharks. He'll likely take the starting hooker role. Now, he's been in the New South Wales Emerging Origin camp, so clearly he's got a little bit of something going on. He's got very good service from the base of the ruck. He just needs to work on his kicking game and his running game, but he could be anything. He could be a very handy signing. And also the Knights...
a lot of faith in that signing. For some reason, I just feel like it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good, solid signing.
But I rarely have, my feelings are rarely, on the ball. It should be really considered a bad thing that I feel that's a good thing.
And last one is Kurt Capewell is rumoured to be coming over to the side as well.
Ooh,
also
exciting.
From Cronulla.
Exciting.
He can cover second row, centre, wing... and he's in the Queensland Emerging Origin camp this year. So, again, someone with a fair few raps on him and very versatile. I've seen him play a few games for the Sharks where he's filled in anywhere from, as I mentioned, winger into second row, and he's done quite well. So, if we can sign him, I think Barry was reporting recently that the deal's as good as done. I think he'll be a very handy signing.
We're going to take a halftime break, and we'll be right back to talk more Knights. We'll talk about the highs, the lows, the middles, the mediocres.
The creamy middles.
As well as give a little preview of the grand final. We'll be right back, guys.
This game is our game. This town is our town. Turn the heat up and listen to the crowd.
Good. I don't have to good ending. It's half time. Welcome back to the second half of the Joust. Second half of the last half of the Joust of the season. Gee, we've had some fun, Liam.
It's been fantastic, Nate, but I always have fun when I'm around you.
Don't touch me. Okay.
Sorry,
No,
Nate.
we go. Well, there's been some highs. There's been some lows of our season, but as well as the Knights season, Liam.
Mostly lows.
Mostly. Look, hey, there was a lot of highs in there. That's what made the season so.
You sound like Gary Youngberry, mate. Plenty
a
of
lot
lows,
of
with a couple
highs.
of highs.
A lot of highs coming in here, but there's a lot of lows pushing from the south. Yeah, I love how Youngberry still gets a mention.
Yeah, he was a great weatherman.
It was.
I personally preferred Mike Bailey though. For me,
Tim Bailey.
Yeah, Mike Bailey.
Was the two Baileys? Oh,
Yeah, there was
Taylor
two Baileys. Mike
yeah.
Bailey was from ABC.
Yeah.
Because growing up, I was probably the only 5-year-old who loved watching ABC News. So Richard Moorcroft and Mike Bailey were my
Good
heroes
combo.
as
Yeah.
a child. Great combo.
Yeah.
Great combo. But Gary Youngberry obviously is more local to Newcastle. I figured
Well, not
everyone
anymore.
would know.
Not in the last 13 years, I don't think.
He's still local, I would imagine.
Gold Coast now,
we've
yeah.
just got a word from our producer that he's up in the Gold Coast.
Oh, yeah, you didn't know this?
No.
We lost Youngberry the same time we lost Chief and Matty off the footy show, I believe. I think it all happened at the same time. It might have been just Chief. But
What
I
a
remember
triple blow for Newcastle.
it was, yeah, big. It wasn't. It was the day the laughter died. And the low from the south came in and brought Gavin Morton. Now, Gavin Morton, no. Continue on without me.
Continue on without you. I've forgotten what we were up to.
No, we got Liam, the highs and the lows of the Newcastle Knights.
Oh, the
this
highs
season.
and the lows. I figure we'll start with best win of the year, Nagy. Now, we have to discuss this game because it was one of the greatest Knights wins in living memory. It was round 11. Let me set the scene. It was round 11. The Knights were playing the Roosters. The Knights had started improving. The things were looking good. They were shaping up. And then Dan Safidi almost single-handedly decimated the Roosters pack. It was unbelievable. Dan Safidi put in probably his greatest performance in a Knights jersey, putting Luke Keary to sleep. He just put him to sleep. He put him to bed. He pulled the sheets up and said, fuck off and go to sleep now. So, and we had Edric Lee running for 205 metres. And then, of course, Mitchell Pearce kissing the emblem. It was a beautiful...
Nearly 28,000 people.
Unfortunately, that was one of the few home games I missed that year. But, it was a hell of a win. What are your memories of that game, Nagy?
It was something special. Again, I had to watch it on television. I was down the south coast myself, and it was. But it really gave everyone. This has never happened before in 10 plus years. Us knocking off the Chooks at home, and in the style that we did, we never looked like losing that game. And to the best efforts of players like Tedesco, they just couldn't turn it around because we were too good on the day. Only on that day, though.
Only on that day, yes.
My favourite win of the season, then. Cast your mind back to round 7.
Consider it cast.
Where we took on Parramatta. And I believe at the new stadium. I feel like it was at their new stadium. I could be wrong, but no, it was at home. Thanks very much for ruining my dreams. I think we beat them down at Bank
that
West.
was the start of the roll.
It was the start of the run. We lost our 5 previous games to that. People were writing us, people were saying, what's wrong with the Knights? Now, those similar conversations happened later in the season, but at the time, it was a real moment of, are we going to stand up and actually win some games, or are we just going to have another terrible, terrible run? And it was the start of the 6-game win streak that we had. And we only won a handful of games after that, but it was really something special, partly because I was down there at Gosford Leagues Club, and I was watching it in a Knights jersey with another friend of mine, Kelly Wilson, who was also in a Knights jersey, and the place was filled with Parramatta supporters. And by God, like when we started winning, and we made some noise.
I should hope so.
Absolutely made some noise, and then we had
probably made some enemies as well.
Well, no, quite contraire. The older gentlemen sitting at the table who were sitting across from us, who every time the Knights scored, we'd clap and we'd say, "Now we know," now because it's a club you can't swear. So really giving to them. They came and sat with us in the second half and said, "Oh, my son's a Knights supporter, and I've always really supported," and we're getting them back. And I was like, "Yes, finally,
you won them over.
We're turning the tide."
See, I thought they would have
also got
forgiven
asked-
us from 2001.
We got asked to leave that also that night because we drunk too much.
You were too inebriated.
Far too inebriated.
While we're on the positives, Nagy, let's talk about our 3, 2, and 1. Now, obviously, as everyone knows, in rugby league, we're often given an arbitrary number to assign to players based on who we think was the best.
Yeah.
Obviously, 3 being the best and 1 being still very good, but not the best. I was going to say worst, but worst is wrong because they weren't the worst. They were still very good. Think of it as the medal system that they use at the Olympics and other such events. You've got your gold medal at 3.
Yeah.
You've got your silver medal for 2. Bronze is 1. So let's get into it, Nagy. Who's your 3?
No, we'll start at 1.
We'll start at 1. Who's your 1?
We'll build up. My 1 goes to Mitch Barnett. A player that was put under a lot of pressure. He's an 80-minute back rower, and he's a bit of like in sort of echoes of Skizzy. He's a bit of rocks and diamonds, but he finished the season really strong.
He did.
He got the Danny Medeiros medal at the awards night for players player. So I believe he accumulated the most 3-2-1s. He definitely leaves it all out there. He's not the most talented player, but he definitely shows plenty of guts. I have to give it to Mitch Barnett. Barney's back.
Barney is back, well and truly. Did he ever leave, though?
That's a good question.
Good question.
Number 1 lane for you?
My number 1 now, this is a gentleman who didn't play the whole season. He suffered an injury which ruled him out for a good bit of the season. But as someone coming into a new team, I thought he was just fantastic. And that man was Edric Lee. From the very first game with that intercept try, he became a cult hero almost immediately.
Yeah.
And, he was never one to shirk the hard work. Even when the Knights were beaten, down and out, dusted, he was still taking those hard runs. He was good under the high ball. He was a good target for the kickers. I thought he was just a fantastically solid, a very above average winger.
Yeah.
And I think I really like what Edric Lee brought to the club, and I think he'll only improve next year, and I'm really looking forward to what he can do.
And when we didn't have him, our wins, I think we only won 1 game without him. 2 wins, maybe 2 wins without him. It's something like that. It wasn't a great deal.
Because he was so good at getting the Knights on a roll, getting those hard yards off our own line, and just starting the sets very positively.
Number 2, I'm going to jump straight onto a player that we had on, first player that we had on this season, Connor Watson. Connor Watson at number 2. I just thought every time we put him on the field, no matter what position, whether it was 5'8" hooker or just put it as a roaming sort of runner, he really gave plenty of guts, and it really showed. And he's got so much talent, this guy, and he could be playing, and if he was playing for the Melbourne Storm, he'll be scoring 12 plus tries a season. What he is, he's reinvented the hooking role for the Knights, and gives us an option off the bench. And I think if they can make him and Jaden Brayley work sort of in concurrently, tandem.
Concurrently is a better one.
Yeah. We can really have something there. Like bringing him on, I don't know what you do with Jaden Brayley. Hook is such a hard position. But Connor Watson went there with absolutely no experience. He told us at the beginning of the season, I don't like playing there, but by golly, you couldn't tell because he looked like he loved it and he scored plenty of points. Liam, who have you got for your number 2?
I've got number 2. Our very first guest for the season was Connor Watson.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There
So
you go, Connor.
I've got to agree with you because it's you're given how good he was at hooker towards the back end of the season, it's easy to forget that he started the season playing fullback. He was then moved into 5'8", and then he only really found his feet as a hooker in the second half of the season.
He's a hooker.
He's a hooker. Cherry pie. Apple of her eye. He was a hooker. Sorry, guys.
Those only Norman McDonald.
Norman
fans
McDonald. Look, he played a couple of different positions and he tried his ass off in every single one.
Yeah.
And I think he had, a fantastic season. And I think, like you said, he and Jaden Brayley can form a very potent 1-2 punch combination.
Now, Liam, I know you quite well. Plus, I glanced down at your sheet. Yep, we've got the same 3. So I'm going to change my answer because it's the same as yours.
Oh, fantastic. Now, who have you got for your number 3? Oh, your 3 points.
3 points. Mitchell Pearce.
Okay.
The games that we won, he led from the front. I think every time he scored a try for us, we won that game. He on that 6-game run, he was just everything. He's got the weight of the team on his shoulders. He doesn't really have a strong 5'8" with him, so when we get a roll on and he just manages to steer us around the park. A lot of responsibility, doesn't always come up with the goods, but by golly, he always tries.
He's a trier. He's definitely a trier. He's very much an effort player.
And for that, Junior, you get my 3 points. Liam, who's yours? We all know who it's going to be.
Big Papa Clem, the big dog,
Big
the
Daddy.
the big member of the KKK. He looks like, but
we've already.
Well, when he shaves his head, that's exactly what he looks like.
We've already done Hitler this episode.
God, this season's gone downhill quickly. It took us till our last episode, but we're finally going to get fired off Facebook.
Yeah, that's it.
But look, Clem was just immense. Every game, even in losing efforts, he was, up around that 200-meter mark. He just would not ever stop pumping his legs in the tackle. He was just absolutely immense. He was huge and was rewarded with, all 3 Origin appearances. And again,
missed one.
Oh, he missed one. Yes, he did through injury, didn't he?
But he would have been there otherwise.
He would have been there, yeah. But and of course the infamous non-selection for Game 3.
Yeah.
When Tarek Sims was picked ahead of him.
He said he was selected all 3 games. Really, he was only selected.
He was only
for one.
selected in one. So yes, I was way off. But we came around to the correct answer in the end. But yeah, he's exactly what Newcastle needs. He's our new chief.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It was a huge signing, and he's a real spearhead forward.
Absolutely.
Well done, Clem. Well done, everyone mentioned on that list. It was, they brought us a lot of happy memories.
They did indeed.
A lot of hope. Which
Not only to be dashed later on.
Liam, we've got a segment here, disappointments. Any particular low points for you? I got mine. We'll keep this brief. Everyone's already hurting, Liam. Let's quickly step the knife in and pull it out.
Loss against the Titans, 38-14. I've written here just a shit game by the Knights.
Yeah.
No effort, too many mistakes, just bad.
Yeah.
The 3 Titans tries came directly from mistakes and not playing the whistle. An embarrassing performance against the side that went on to win the Wooden Spoon. So that for me is the low point of the season.
My low point for the season was also very similar. I'll say the second game against the Tigers. We still kept that finals fire burning for way too long. It shouldn't really be burning at all. It should have been well put out, but it was. We still had a chance. We didn't rock up at the time. It was disappointing to see.
But where did the season go wrong for you, Nagy? What was it about that season that just didn't work?
It doesn't make any sense that season, Liam.
It doesn't.
No sense whatsoever. The fact that we could win when we did and look as dominant as we did, and then that's why it hurt so much more than other seasons
because we showed flashes of brilliance.
It was basically the same season as we had against for Wayne Bennett in 2012, 2014. Basically the same as far as win losses, but just the way we clumped together our wins, it looked like we like Canberra must have felt at the end, and beginning of the 90s, like we're gonna go on forever, and then just it didn't last. Just didn't last.
Unfortunately.
So let's look forwards, not backwards. Backwards, not forwards.
Always twirling.
Always twirling.
So grand final, Nagy.
Grand final.
Preview of the grand final.
We're not in it, so we can just pretend like we give a damn. No, it's Canberra Raiders.
Excellent. Fantastic. Wonderful. The milk is back.
Yeah.
That's it. A club of battlers. A truly battling club.
The Viking clap, as our producers. Yeah. Well, it's a wonderful marketing thing, the Viking clap. And the huge horn.
Now, now they've stolen it from the Minnesota Vikings, I believe. But I'm all for it. I know the Viking clap has divided opinion throughout the rugby league and the greater world.
Yeah.
But I'm for it. I just love emotional outpourings of sporting beauty. And I think that's what that is, It's dedication. It's the community coming together to cheer on their team. It's everything I love about sport. And for that reason, I love the Viking clap. What do you think about it, Nagy?
I love it. I think it's fantastic to see. There's probably, come on, there's like 12,000 Raiders fans out there at the beginning of the season. There's probably 20 now.
They got closer to, I think it was 26,000 in the stadium, their biggest crowd in history in Canberra.
A lot of them are wearing 2019 Raiders merch. Let's just say
absolutely.
That, but I want to see them win. I want to see them beat the Roosters. It would be a lovely fairy tale, as I said before. So what's your score predictions, Liam?
My score prediction now, my head is saying the Roosters, but my heart is saying the Raiders.
Telling me no, but my body's telling me yeah.
We've got a songwriter in the house.
Sorry. I believe that's R. Kelly, is it? Hitler, Kelly, and R. Kelly.
We're plumbing the depths of humanity here tonight. We really are, my word. Yeah. Look, score prediction, I'm going to go Roosters, but I think it'll be a low-scoring affair, given how good the Raiders' defense has been. I'm going to go Roosters by 18 points to 14.
Right.
So it's going to be close. I think Tedesco gets the Clive Churchill medal.
I think 24-12 Roosters.
Okay.
And
Clive Churchill medal?
I think either Yeah, probably Tedesco. It's hard not to give him some sort of medal.
The man's just in a freakishly good form at the moment.
Just moves strong.
But at the same time, I think the Raiders can really upset the Roosters because the Raiders don't play a particularly structured brand of football. They've got so much strike power from individual players across the field that they don't play with much structure. And I think as good as the Roosters' defence is, that could really exploit that Roosters' defence and kind of throw them off a bit. But they're two teams with absolutely fantastic defence, especially on the goal line. So it's going to be hard to get points out of it, but I think we're going to be in for one of the great grand finals of all time.
That's a big call, Liam. Probably won't come to fruition, but I appreciate your passion anyway. I'm getting choked up because it's our last episode, Liam. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for watching us. Don't touch me. We'll shake your hand. We do get along quite well outside of the show. Reasonably well. Now, thank you very much for tuning in every week. Without people watching, we can't do it. Although we would continue doing it if you stop watching. It really doesn't matter. We're whores for our own voice. So
just love huffing those farts.
That's
Maggie.
exactly right. Yeah. Now, thank you very much to the Commonwealth Hotel for giving us somewhere to record for the back half of the season. It's been so fun to record here. And thank you very much, Murray's, for keeping us all fluid filled.
Keeping us well watered.
The Murray's 262 Nova Castro Brew. It's fantastic.
Get out and buy a carton, you bastards.
Just do it. Just do it. Just buy a carton and put a couple in your pockets and sneak them into the Commonwealth Hotel. And that's where you're going to be watching the grand final. We look forward to bringing you some sort of show next season. But please, if you like us on Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Instagram, all those social pipes. Twitter.
Yes, I haven't been as active on Twitter as I would like. In fact, I haven't been active at all on Twitter. So apologies to all the rugby league Twitter fans out there. I'll do my best next year to make it a much more exciting place.
Big thanks. I said thanks with an
F.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, I hate that as well. Big thanks.
The one I hated was kids who would say everything.
Everything.
Yeah. Couldn't stand it.
No, can't stand you. There's big thanks to Ellie Beavis for producing the show, as well as our two producers right here. We got Josh and Sam. Thank you very much, guys.
And Pom. Don't forget Pom.
Pom. I forgot about Pom.
No, don't forget about Pom.
Yeah, the secret code. Yeah, there he is. Thanks very much, guys, to bring us the show every week. It's gonna be sad to not see you every week, Liam. But I'm sure we'll catch up.
Like you said, we will continue doing this through the off season. Just we won't hit record.
I just call you and we do it the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks very much, guys. We'll see you again next season. Go, you mighty Raiders. Bye-bye.